3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Ooh. Good morning. It's host Miss V, host of the V Mix Radio Show, 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Radio on Fire every Saturday. I first want to say good morning to you. It's a beautiful Saturday. Happy birthday to all the cancers that's out here getting lit. I want to say shout outs to my last Saturday guest. I really had a good show, Benny Harding. Get familiar with her single out right now called Ride, produced by my boy BJR, okay? He is so lit. He actually got some programs and some offers for producing and mixing music. So I want y'all to get familiar with BJR. He's a producer. I would say a super producer. I mean, everything he touches to me is lit. He's actually featured on my first playlist. And I am going to put another cut on my second volume 2 on volume 2. So shout outs to producer BJR. Shout outs to Benny Harding. She is so talented. Not only is she a singer-songwriter, she's also recording artist. She raps as well. She's just multi-faceted, like talented. Also, she is into her visuals. Shout outs to Shimmy, her best girlfriend. She was here. We had a very, very good show last Saturday. So I want y'all to get familiar with Benny Harding. Get familiar with BJR. He's a producer. He is lit as excuse me, he's lit as fuck, okay? So get familiar with BJR. If y'all need any music, anything you can think of, he will help you with. But again, Benny Harding is that girl too, so get familiar with her. But today, I am here just to say, first I want to say thank you and shouts out to Mira's Lighthouse. She has a style that she now featured called Nene. If y'all don't know, my name is Vernay, and she gave a style after me, and it's called Nene. So get familiar with Mira's Lighthouse. I now have a style out right now. They're going for $10. So if y'all want to hit me up for some lashes, hit me up for some lashes, okay? So I'm selling Nenes for $10. I actually have them on right now, okay? So go to Mira's Lighthouse at gmail.com and hit her up. Or you can go to her IG. It's Mira's Lighthouse, okay? Her name is Amira. I think she got a couple underscores behind her name on IG. But go to Mira's Lighthouse. And it comes in a very, very cute package. Very cute box, okay? And it's $10 for a style Nene. Get familiar with Mira's Lighthouse. I am the brand ambassador for them. For her, I would say. Excellent. She's mobile. She also has bundles, hair extensions as well. She has eyelash extensions as well. She doesn't just do the strips, but I am wearing strips. I think they're more convenient. I'm allergy girl. Like I have a lot. I'm always in my eyes digging, so I find now that the strips is better for me. Okay. All right. And again, shout out to the Boys and Girls Club, located 215 North Calhoun Street, Mr. Day. If y'all want to be a volunteer, if you want to contribute, if you want to just be there and help with programs, be a member, y'all can go to 215 North Calhoun Street and ask for Mr. Day. The Boys and Girls Club needs you. They need some volunteers. They need members. We want to help the youth. So get familiar with the Boys and Girls Club on North Calhoun Street, okay? So also August the 17th, I am doing a back to school giveaway. So if you would like to be a vendor, if you would like to perform, if you would like to sponsor or donate sponsorships, your logo will go on the flyer. I am going to do another flyer. That also includes some of the money will go to supplies as well, and promotions, of course. And if you want to donate, of course, I can promote you for until August the 17th and after. So the promotions don't ever stop with me. I have a lot of things that I want to do in addition to not just the artists and the playlist. I got some things for the other artists that come on my show or small businesses that I'm working up. So if y'all want to get in the mix of that, y'all got to hit me up and stay connected and stay and communicate with me. Go to the vmix.com. I have offers on the vmix.com. I have information on the vmix.com. So hit me up for the things that I have to offer. I can't keep up with you. Y'all have to try to keep up with me too, okay? So hit me up at the vmix.com. Or go to the vmix.com and see what I got to offer. I have a lot to offer, okay? So back to school event is August the 17th, 2 to 6:30 p.m. And it's on a Saturday. And again, that's located on 215 North Calhoun Street. I'm partnered up with the Boys and Girls Club. And right now, thank you, Curry Hardware. They're located on 1700 West North Avenue. They have been established since 1986. They are one of the sponsors of the back to school event. So let's say thank you so much to Curry's Hardware, black owned. So shout out to all local black owned businesses. Shout out to all businesses because it's very hard. Okay. All right, that's all of my shout outs, all of my promotions. I can get into my guest today. I want to say thank you to everybody who tunes in. But my guests today are from the WFBR family. They actually started with me, I want to say 2015, 2016, I think is when they first came to the V-Mix on WFBR, and I love them. I just feel like they are so courageous. A lot of people, when things happen tragically, they fold. People don't keep moving. I don't want to sound like that's weak or not, but that's courageous. That's a big deal. That's a grace from God. So I can't tell your story, and they'll tell it better than me. But that's how I just want to introduce them. They are very courageous. Y'all need to get familiar with the Devin Green Franklin Foundation, and they can tell their story. I have to the left is Mr. Chavez. I have to the right Miss Inez. She speaks very well. I don't want her to take my show, but she can still tell her own. She can still tell her own story. Okay. Hi, Miss Inez.
Hey, Dee.
How you doing?
We're coming along. It is a process. If you don't mind, I just want to take a moment of personal privilege to thank you for this platform. And I don't know if you remember, but we first met at Applebee's by way of your mother.
Okay.
She had heard about Davon's story, and she said, "You need to talk to my daughter." And she brought me over to the table, and that's how we initially
Yes.
met. And after you
Mommy.
after you just heard like our basically elevator story, that was less than a minute. You stated that this is something that we should put forth. So thank you so very much for using this platform to bring awareness, to what really happens when U.S. citizens travel outside the United States.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
again, thank you so very much.
Anytime you're welcome. You see my new home. So
I love your new home.
You welcome to y'all welcome to come. I would say that we're partners. Like, I am here for you anytime you need me. But I would love for you to tell your story. I don't want to tell your story. If you want to go there, I don't know if you want to, but
I mean, that's-
I think the people need to know on Radio on Fire, who Devin Green Franklin Foundation, WFBR family know.
Okay.
So,
It was in March of 2010 that our son, Davon Green Franklin, had traveled to Mexico, which would be the last spring break that he would have while being a student at Howard University. And so I didn't feel comfortable with him going, on this trip, and I had actually stated to him that I don't feel good about this trip. And this was, although Davon had traveled outside of the United States before, but it was something different about this trip that kind of, arrested my spirit, enough to say, I don't feel good about this. If you're going to take this trip, make sure you leave all of your pertinent information, including your travel itinerary, copies of your passport, copy of your driver's license, just in case we have to get down there to you.
and something just told you to ask for this information.
Yeah, I would say something came over me, which I can only attribute it, to being God. Get this information from him, and we did just that. And so I had spoken with Davon that Friday by way of Skype,
Okay.
and that was the last time I physically saw him alive. The last time I physically held him in my arms. And I always say, two things, a mother will remember: the first time she saw her child, the last time she saw her child. Those things are going to be etched in your memory. And the last time I saw him was exactly 2 weeks prior to him passing, and it was on my birthday. And so there was no way, coming from a grand celebration of it being my birthday to finding out 2 weeks later that my child would be gone. And it devastated us, so we get the phone call, and there's Davon's, who at the time was his girlfriend. She's, on the phone, and she's crying, and I'm asking her, what is wrong? And she states, well, she didn't state anything. She just continued to cry. And then I heard another voice on the phone, and she said, the other voice says, there's been an accident. And my immediate response was, is my son alive? And when they said no, I started missing Davon just like that. You know, I gave the phone to my husband. We are a family of faith, and I immediately went into prayer. And so, after coming out of prayer, you know, we contacted our pastor, Bishop Debnam, pastor of Morning Star Baptist Church, and along with some other leaders, converged onto our home. Although Chavez had done weddings, I had done funerals, but we knew we had never had this situation to happen, the losing of a child. And so we came together, Davon's family and friends came together, and we began focusing on how do we get him back home. And
instantly,
we didn't have 2 days to think about this. All this had to come together in a matter of an hour. What is the next step? And we were so fortunate that our pastor contacted Vaughn Green Funeral Home, and it seemed like just in moments, Mr. Vaughn Green called back, and he stated, "We've located Master Davon Green Franklin, and we're in the process of getting him back to the U.S."
Oh, so the funeral home is the first person who did the contact.
In terms, when you say contact,
As far as getting him back home.
that was the initial
I didn't. Okay.
phase
Okay.
of us getting Davon back
Okay.
home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when this happened, we were not expecting that it would be so many mountains that we would have to jump through to get Davon back home. And so once that established contact was made with the funeral home, Mr. Vaughn Green was then able to make his contacts down in Mexico. Because we knew that Davon was in Cancun, Mexico, but we didn't, have all the inner workings that people have now.
I understand.
Most people look at the State Department as a place to get a passport. But if
Okay.
something should go wrong, you should automatically have the State Department travel app inside of your phone.
Can I see it? You want to see how the travel app look?
What you would have to do is go on to travel.state.gov, and I'm going to ask that your audience, if they are looking to go outside of the country.
So you need to download this app in order to
Yeah,
connect with the United States, if you're in a different state. If you're different.
Okay, this is their website. This is
together.
what their website looks like.
Okay.
But if you're going to get the State Department travel app, you need to go to the Google Play Store.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So it's simple.
Yeah, but
as
that's
going
the
to Google
website.
Play
If you don't
Store,
want to
I'll
put an
find
app
that.
on your phone, which I don't understand why people wouldn't,
Y'all
but
can't
that is
see.
the actual website, and you can
Right.
still take care of the same, steps in order to safeguard your family members along with yourself.
Okay.
So in speaking with Mr. Vaughn Green, once he stated that Davon was in process, that he would be doing everything he could to help facilitate his coming back into the U.S. We didn't know, but 2 weeks prior, Davon had made us aware of his connection with a law firm over in D.C. And as we were riding through Georgetown, headed towards Georgetown, he says, "Tweet, there are some good people in that building." And I'm like, "Okay, Davon." He said, "No, there are some good people inside of that building." He says, "A team of lawyers there, and they serve as advisors to my fraternity." And so I was like, "Okay, Davon." But little did I know, one of the first phone calls I took that Monday, which was Davon passed on that Sunday, that Monday was from that law team. They had called to offer their condolences and asked, was there anything they could do, to help? And we were like, "Well, we got everything, taken care of." The funeral home has been in contact with the funeral home down in Mexico, with the morgue. At that point, he was still at the morgue. And they're making preparations to bring Davon back to the U.S. And on the night of Davon's death, we were notified by a gentleman by the name of Jesus. So we had to deal with the attempts of money being extorted from us as well. So we were really put in a vulnerable situation.
And I think that's why I was like, because I recall, like, that's what I recall from WFBR. You was always talking about how they was trying to extort the money. And I used to be like, so when you first hear that your son passed, that's the first thing that happened. So that's why I was like, dang, I didn't know the funeral had that many connections. And I think that's why I was like, wait, but I thought prior that they were calling to try to get money from you or something like that. That's what I remember.
And they were.
I was twisted.
Yeah, and they were. And they were.
Story.
But before, it seemed like everything was running like real smooth until the demands for the money came in.
Okay.
You know, and that's when the connection with the law team that Davon had told me about came into play. And so they were able to step in and say, you know, let everything come through our office, because a lot of times foreign countries, they have other individuals that are trying to get money. You know how that whole, you know, thing comes together. You know, you think you paid one person, then they come back and say, well, no, we never got the money. So then you end up paying again, and you end up paying again, you know, and many U.S. citizens, their families have had to shell out additional monies because they were in a vulnerable state. And whereas it wasn't my experience, because as soon as they, you know, started saying, you know, we want your credit card information, we want your checking account routing number, your son has these bills that need to be paid, you know, I immediately just shut it down, you know, and just asked that they not call again.
What gave you two, not Ms. Inez, because I feel like y'all come as a package, a team. How do you, still to this day, you have told this story on a VMix so many times, and I thought I knew it. That's why I'm like, wait, and I apologize for that. I thought I knew it, but hearing it so many times, how do you detach from missing your son, losing your son, the emotional, the hurt, you know, how do you do it? Like, you still are strong, you still going out giving, you're awarding scholarships through the Devin Green Franklin Foundation. You have a legacy bowling event coming up. You're still pushing forward to speak about safety tips 101. You two, how do you do it?
It's almost like it becomes second nature. You know, I never stop thinking about Davon, whether I'm doing laundry, whether I'm cooking. It's like he's tattooed, you know, on my soul. You know, it's almost like it's that constant reminder that, you know, he's not here any longer. You know, a lot of people think that we actually started the Davon Green Franklin Foundation, but Davon started this foundation in 10th grade. You know, he stated he wanted to start a foundation, and I asked him, well, if you're going to start this foundation, what are you going to call it? And he said the Davon Green Franklin Legacy Foundation. And so then he goes on.
In the 10th grade, Mr. Javed?
In the 10th grade.
In the 10th grade.
Right at our house, he talked about doing this.
Yeah, we didn't understand what he was trying to tell us. You know, starting a foundation in the 10th grade was just like, it was mind-boggling. And until he passed away, and then we looked at everything that, you know, he had said, and then we pushed on, and that's one of the reasons why we can push on to continue his legacy, because he said this before he even got into college. And so it's a labor of love for us to continue on with the foundation. People need the information, and so it's just so many layers of stuff that keeps pushing us to, you know, want to give this information and to help other people.
Yeah, and so he goes on to say that he would name it the Davon Green Franklin Legacy Foundation. And so I said, well, you have to have a slogan, like a mantra, and his mantra was, don't just live a life, leave a legacy. And I said, well, what is this foundation going to do? And he states to me, he said, well, I want to give back to students at my high school.
He is so special.
Yeah,
wow. Wow.
So it's because of those moments that we shared with him that we are able to continue the work, you know. And our mission is we help individuals to understand the hidden dangers and vulnerabilities of international travel, you know. So we don't try to scare individuals, but we try to just give them some guidelines. And if you're going to travel, what should you be doing before you even book your ticket? You know, there are some things that need to take place.
And for the people who don't know, he actually caught a cramp while swimming, correct?
That was what was told to us by the
Okay.
individuals who were with him at the time.
Oh, y'all know.
So we can only go based on what was told to us because we were not there.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, and so like I said, there are some things that U.S. travelers can put in place, so that if something were to go wrong, what would be the plan? Because we research out the latest handbag, the latest shoes more than we research out our travel destinations.
Safety should be the first priority of planning a trip. Period.
Absolutely.
Safety should be the first.
Safety.
So after y'all, as a family and friends, y'all got together, y'all got the body back. Is what happened next?
Okay, let me say, a lot of times individuals are not even able to bring their loved ones back.
That's my point of bringing that back around. That's why I wanted to bring that back up.
Yeah, when something like this happens, it could be upwards of $20,000 or more in order to bring this individual back to the United States.
What they gonna do with $20,000? Because they got to
What happens is when this situation unfolds, you have a U.S. citizen that's outside of the United States. If they have not registered with the U.S. State Department, a lot of times the State Department don't really has no idea as to who's coming and who's going.
It is a must to register before you leave the United States at travelstate.gov.
Travel.state.gov.
Travel.state.gov is a must to register.
You have to register your trip. Case in point, if you have the State Department travel app and they are saying that U.S. citizens must get out of this particular region, if I don't have it on my phone and you have it on your phone, who are they going to notify first? The person with the app. So that's why it's so important to not just get the app, but to register that trip.
Absolutely. I know. So, I know you mentioned, so you don't deal with in-state. It's always, your focus is international for the people that needs to know. Your focus is international only. Incidents do happen in-state, but we are definitely fighting. It seems like a battle with international travel at this point. So, I know Mr. Chavez usually do the safety tips. Did you want to get into that before I get into because we're talking about the U.S. State Department now. Did you want to finish with that one?
Just a few more things about the U.S. State Department travel website. And a lot of people don't know this, but if you're going into the more riskier areas, then they are actually stating, and it's on their website, that travel has become so complex. They're even asking for individuals who are traveling abroad to leave their DNA samples with their doctor's offices. It's on the website. This is how serious this is, because if they need to be able to make an identification, if your DNA is on file with your doctor's office, that can help speed up the process. So if you're looking at going into high-risk areas, have that conversation with your primary care physician. Get those samples on file, because it's just that serious. If the government is telling you to do this, you might want to take heed. You're looking shocked.
You see me like... This
Yeah.
is serious.
This is not.
So people think that if you stay in say for instance, you like, okay, I'm traveling and I'm gonna stay in a tourist. I'm in the tourist section. I'm okay,
Well,
right?
This
Right,
is one
Mr.
of
Chavez,
the.
you okay in the
Yeah.
tourist section, right?
Well,
Not necessarily so.
You really think you are, but a lot of times you're not. If we think about some of the incidents that have been happening in the news over the last month or so, a lot of these people were at resort hotels, and these incidents still happen. So you're not safe just because you're in the resort hotel. You still have to be thinking safety, and that's the key point that we're trying to get to more than anything else. We want people to think about what they're doing, where they're going, think about your surroundings. We'll be able to get into it a little later on in the when I get to the safety tips. But
You're not safe at the tours.
There needs to be a heightened awareness of what's happening, not just when you go and maybe venture off. There are hidden dangers right there, considering the fact that someone was able to, who had visited the Dominican Republic, was able to drink from a mini bar and pass away, you know. So it's not just leaving the resort that you have to worry about. You have to worry about, if you're on the resort, just going from poolside back to your room alone, you know, has its vulnerabilities as well. You know, having, you know, the mindset that I have to be thinking about my safety. It's not a time to go and relax so much that you're not even thinking about your well-being. You know, so a trip to going back to the room to get a beach towel. You know, individuals have not made it, you know, out of that situation alive, or have been sexually assaulted or robbed. You know, so those things do happen on the resort. Take for instance, Nolan Webster. His mother is the founder of Mexico Vacation Awareness, and she told her son if he went to Mexico and stayed on the resort, that he would be safe. However, Nolan was pulled from a pool that was, I want to say, less than 4 feet deep, you know, and they didn't even offer him any type of assistance, and he was still alive, and they pulled him over to a tree and allowed him to die there. You know, so
Oh, Lord.
even being on a resort, you know, has some safety practices that have to be put in place.
DNA with your doctor's office. Register with travels.state.gov. Prepare for safety, period. That's the first step, not your outfit.
No, definitely not an
Okay.
outfit. The CDC travel website is another good resource.
Okay, CDC
and I say
travel
that
website. What's the difference between that and travel state?
The CDC travel website is going to deal with the health side. It's going to prepare you for making sure that you are physically able to take a trip.
Okay.
It's going to give you such information as how much medicine you should take with you if you're on high blood pressure, medications, if you're an asthmatic, any type of health
asthmatic.
concerns that you might have. And typically, if you go, how many pumps do
asthmatic.
you take?
It's seasonal for me. It's like right now I'm good. I haven't needed to inhale in like a few weeks or days.
Okay.
But then like like how it was hot the other day and muggy, I would need it.
So you would
It
definitely.
depends. It's kind of like I need it all the time. I guess I would say I would need it as needed.
So would you
that's
take
often.
one? Would you just take your pump?
If I was I always take I have allergies. I have asthma, and I think I kind of got like bronchitis a little bit from like.
So you take everything.
Yeah, I take everything when I go away.
Okay, and that's what most individuals don't do.
Okay.
They don't take everything, or they don't take enough. You know, they may say, "Well, I'm only going for 7 days. I'm just going to take, you know, 10." No, they're going to err on the side of caution and say, "I'll take a 10-day supply."
Okay.
But what we're telling individuals, if you get sick, they will not allow you back into the country. And a lot of times, the medication that you take.
Shoot, nobody thinks of that.
Yeah, they will not allow you to come back into the country if you are sick. So you will be inside of a foreign country, away from the rest of your medication, because you only took a 10-day supply. So we're saying, you know, talk with your healthcare provider, and they will likely tell you to take more than just enough to last you for
month
the
worth.
duration, you know, of your trip. You know, because you want to make
Take
sure
everything.
that, right, if you're getting sick there, that you have access to the same medications that you would take if you were inside the United States. So the CDC travel website is going to give you that type of information, as well as make you aware of if there are any other type of illnesses lurking in that particular country, because they have alerts.
They give alerts to let us know what's going on in that country. So the CDC travel website. Oh, okay.
So if it's going to affect your health, you definitely want to, make your way to the CDC travel website and just explore it, just, navigate it, see exactly, what's going on in that country.
So DNA with your doctor, all your information with your loved ones. Go to travel.state.gov to register your trip. CDC travel will let you know what illnesses is in other countries, and also wow. And now we get into the travel insurance.
Yes.
Did you want to still talk about CDC?
No, let's talk about travel insurance.
Okay.
Because we always hear individuals, they kind of like, stick
That's
their...
extra money.
Well, travel
You
insurance...
know, that's the first question people, Miss Inez, gonna say.
Well,
so how much did that cost? Can I afford
if you
it?
can afford to take this trip, then you cannot afford not to have travel insurance. And not just travel insurance, but evacuation insurance. So let's talk about travel insurance first.
Okay.
So we know that
Money.
what we found out is that travel insurance is a reimbursement. So what happens is when something happens, say for instance you sprained your ankle. Let's go on a softer side. You sprained your ankle, and you go to one of their one of the overseas clinics or hospitals. The travel insurance will be submitted by a claim. You would have to do a claim.
Okay.
Now they're not paying for it when you get to the clinic. You have to pay for it.
I figured. That's what I
Yeah.
said. How much it cost.
And then if they find out that you've been parasailing, paragliding, bungee jumping, running wildly through the streets, then they have the right to say, we're not going to pay that particular claim.
Who do these people think they are?
So this is why we're saying do your research, look into the different companies. We don't, these are certainly our opinions, our views, what our experiences have been, the research that we've done, and likewise with evacuation insurance. Now, with evacuation insurance, say for instance, if, there was an individual who had a heart attack, what evacuation insurance does is it sends a team that will then go to the country that you're in, and they will be able to get you outside of that country and back into the United States. That team of doctors will be with you from the international destination back to stateside.
I love that.
But you have to get the evacuation insurance.
But can you got a rough amount of how much it may cost?
It could be upwards of, I want to say, when I actually looked online, for a full year, it was just about $250.
That's worth it.
And up.
Yeah.
That's worth
And
it. And up. It depends on what's going on, what you're doing. Like you said, the bungee jumping and all that. If you're going to be like, yeah, I might do this, I might do that.
So we applaud individuals, who get travel insurance, but we also need for them to consider evacuation insurance.
Look, it's not a game.
It is
It ain't
not.
safe. It ain't safe. It ain't. I'm sorry, guys. So keep my community, my age group. Look, it ain't safe. Okay, this is so surreal. Every time y'all see my expressions, I'm really like, y'all are so courageous. That's all I keep saying. Like I just y'all so courageous. So don't travel. Is that what you saying?
No, we're not saying.
no.
Hey,
Is you
we're
saying-
not saying don't
That's one
travel.
of the things. That's one of the
Mr.
things.
Chavez,
He's
tell
gonna give
me.
you some
that
tips.
Chavez, we need some
we're
tips.
We're
need some
not
tips.
trying
Let me
to
go ahead.
make people afraid of traveling. We're not trying to say don't travel. What we're trying to do is to just critique your mindset just a little bit so that you can
Shift
be
it. Adjust
thinking
your mind.
safety. You know what I mean? Because we haven't stopped traveling. Traveling is good. You get a lot of information. It's a wealth of knowledge out there. But we want you to be a more informed traveler when you travel, because the dangers are out there. And some of the dangers are, I'm just going to go over a few tips. Some of the dangers are whenever you get off the boat, the plane, however you're traveling, when you get to that country that you're going to, the people at the country are already looking at you. And what you pack inside of your luggage can sometimes put a target on your back.
No, say that again.
What do you mean by that? Well, what you pack in your luggage can sometimes put a target on your back. And we know that when we travel, we want to look our best. We want to have all of the designer clothes on. We want to have our jewelry, the bling bling. We want to have all of those things.
I do. I want to
Well,
wear all this,
yeah,
Mr. Chavez.
But when you
I can't wear this?
when you do that, what you do is you put a target on your back because the people automatically think that you got money.
So
And American citizens are big targets when you leave the country because most countries, and you know, not gonna say third world countries, but most countries, the people are struggling. If we're struggling here, they're struggling there, and any way that they can, you know, rip you off, they're gonna try to do it.
so take this all this.
I
off.
mean, try to be low key, as much as you possibly can. You know, as much as you possibly can. There was a story of a lady that had I don't forgot what country it was, but she was on a bus and she had her arm outside the window of the bus and she had a ring on, and some young kid tried to grab the ring and almost pulled her out of the bus, trying to get the ring off her finger. Because you got to remember,
Lordy,
you know,
Lordy.
Yes. So be careful. Don't you know try to you know have all your designer clothes and your
I
you know,
shop
all
at
your
Ross,
jewelry,
okay.
all your jewelry and everything like that. I mean, it's fine to have it. Leave it for when you're going to you know the banquet at the resort. You know, leave it when you know put your good jewelry on, or when you have something that's going on at the resort. But when you go out into the other country, you know where the indigenous people are, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. You know, one of the things that we tell people, you know, if there's no lifeguard there,
Don't swim.
Don't swim at all, because if something happens, say for instance with the insurance, say for instance you were swimming and there was posted that there's not a lifeguard there and you have an accident, and then when you put your claim in and they find out that it was posted that it was no lifeguard there.
So they keep that information. They
can
know if there's a
deny-
lifeguard
they
and
can-
everything?
They can deny your claim.
Whoa, wow.
They can deny-
What?
they
I keep
can-
learning I'm sorry, Mr. Chavez.
Yeah, that's
I keep
okay.
learning every time.
They can
So
deny
they got
your
all that
claim.
information? They know if it's a lifeguard or not?
Well, they
Yeah,
could.
they do
Once
the
your
investigation.
insurance company finds out that you were in Mexico,
Oh, the
and
investigation,
they
right.
start
God,
investigating
do
what you were
investigation.
doing.
Okay.
That's why when Mrs. Inez, she said, "Don't be doing risky, you know, things
Bungee
that are very
jumping,
risky."
right,
You know,
correct.
because if you were taking risk, you know, bungee jumping, parasailing, or whatever the case, I mean, scuba diving, you know, and
They can
something
deny
happens,
you.
they can say, "Well, that's a risk." You know, and this clause here says that you can't do things that are going to put you at risk, and then they can deny
Oh,
your
I get
claim.
it. Okay.
Protect your money at all times. You know what I mean? Your passport, your ID.
All right, let's
you
do
know.
these safety tips, Mr. Chavez.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Do these safety tips.
Yeah. You know, protect your money, your passport, your vital information, your driver's license. What I usually do, I usually wear what they call a money
That's what I was
belt.
about to say. What about this money?
A
Yeah.
money belt. It fits around your waist. It's about this thick. It's waterproof. Some of them are waterproof. I get the one that is waterproof.
I sound like I would get that one
You
too.
get the one that's waterproof because then you can shower in it, you can swim in it, you can do everything, and you sleep in it. And it has your passport, your traveler's checks, and your cash, and everything like that inside of it.
What about phones?
Phones? Well, most of the time,
It sounded like whatever.
Well,
Okay.
it has a lock on it, so once your phone locks, nobody knows your password. You can't get in.
Okay.
But it's important.
Speaking of that, I just want to jump in for 1 second. We're going to
Yes,
let
ma'am.
Mr. Franklin jump back in. In terms of having
I'm sorry.
your phone, you know, we're always in a rush to have our phones locked. Make sure that someone who is traveling with you has access to your emergency contacts.
Okay.
You know, Davon's phone was locked, so therefore no one could get in his phone and establish contact with us. You know, so you want to make sure,
Whoever's with you have it passed. Okay.
yeah, someone that you
Glad I brought that
trust
up.
that can, you know, even if you have to go back and later, you know, change, you know, your passcode. But for vacationing, you want to make sure your phone is open so that if someone needs to reach someone in your family, they can just pick up your phone and dial whatever numbers or write those contacts down, you know, and give it to everyone, and everyone exchange those emergency contacts.
Yeah. You know, one of the other things that we try to tell people when you're traveling is to make sure that you, or try not to rent a car.
Don't.
Well, we say try not to because sometimes, if in a lot of the countries, if something happened here in the United States and you get in an accident, and it's it could be trauma or something like that, they send a helicopter to you and they take you right down to, the
Well,
emergency room.
right.
You know what I mean? But in the other countries, they don't have that. They don't have a trauma team that's going to come and put you back together real fast. And then you are stuck down there trying to figure out how you're going to get well. So try not to rent a car. Don't dress that flamboyant way, because then you put a target on your back. Make sure that if you're going to ask somebody for directions, make sure it's somebody in authority. Don't ask the guy on the corner, how do you get to this hotel, or how do you get to this bar so you can go to this club, because they'll set you up and send you down the wrong street, and then somebody's there ready to rob you.
You said bar. A lot of people associate international travel with the drinking, and a lot of people dying because of the drinking. So what do you think we shouldn't drink when we go away?
I would recommend it. Even in some of the things that have been happening, it happened right on the resort. The guy was inside of his hotel, and he said that he drank something from the mini bar, and he got violently sick. So it's almost like, can I drink when I'm
Can you
abroad?
drink when you're abroad?
Yeah. And it's just like you just have to be cautious and your eyes have to be open. Try to ask the spirit to, I'm a spiritual guy. I can't help saying
I'm
that.
spiritual
I'm
too.
a
You
spiritual guy.
better get the Most High to praise.
Amen.
All praises to the Most High over here.
If some people say, oh, my conscience, something told me to not do this, that, or the other, I put it to the Holy Spirit, and that the Holy Spirit said, don't do this, don't do that. So you have to be thinking, always depending on that spirit to tell you what to do and what not to do. And so, it's one of those things we got to be careful, think safety first, safety second, safety third, and think safety always. So if you don't think safety, it's not going to be around you. It's just not going to be there. Yep.
And V, when you were speaking about, can you drink there? The answer is absolutely not.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like when you travel, don't drink. That's what it sounds like.
And if you've ever traveled internationally, and people are around a mini bar, and basically all you see is a whole bunch of hand motions,
Very
and
true.
all of a sudden magically here comes, this
Is it something up
this
with the
red,
alcohol?
blue, green, toxic, liquor,
Is this-
and you
something
don't
up
know
with
what
the
you're going to
alcohol?
get, because a lot of it, millions of gallons are made under bootleg standards. So you might have someone, just throwing in all types of stuff, from antifreeze to
Get out.
from antifreeze, because you can't taste it, to isopropyl alcohol. You might be getting a little bit of any and everything that might be
Oh
available.
my God.
And that's what's, causing a lot of individuals to lose their lives because of the toxic liquor. A few years back, there were multiple casualties, where individuals said they swam up to the mini bar or was out swimming after having this toxic liquor and, passed away, So you do have to be leery of what you are.
And you can't bring in no alcohol into another state. That's just, another country. That's just not happening. It's like it's not safe to travel. Is it? Like, it make you nervous?
We're not, and individuals should
Let
feel
me stop
nervous.
saying
They should
that.
have some apprehensions.
Let me stop saying
and again, we're not telling individuals not to travel, but what we are saying is there are incidences that have occurred where individuals have lost, their lives, because they may have eaten something that was undercooked. They could have been traveling through the sand without shoes on and may have contracted a parasite. So it's like there are so many things that could possibly go wrong, that it just halts the consumer into a reality check to be able to understand whether or not they really need to make this trip, and if they do, what do I need to do to best protect my life?
Is this only Mexico and Dominican Republic? Because we've been hearing a lot of stories in the Dominican Republic right now. Is it just, because I know you get tips because of the Devin Green Franklin Foundation, like, is it all over
It's-
international travel, or why do you think Dominican Republic is highlighted so much right now?
Because a lot of Americans go there because it's close in proximity to the United States, and a lot of times Mexico is cheap. It's
Okay.
It's an inexpensive vacation that people can take to go to the Caribbean, you know, in those particular areas. And so I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of Americans, you know, tend to go there, because it's
Inexpensive.
it's inexpensive, and it's a quick way. It's a quick trip. You know, you can fly down there. You can you know, get down there very fast.
But then we have to consider the fact, because it's close doesn't mean that it's safe.
Right.
Mexico accounts for a third of non-natural deaths to U.S. citizens.
A third.
A third. During the calendar month in which we lost Davon, there were 32 U.S. citizens that lost their life in one calendar month. You know, so this again, it halts, you know, the consumer into to having to reflect on whether or not they really want to travel to Mexico. So if you're saying to me that 32 U.S. citizens, one calendar month, year of 2010, and this has been happening consistently. This is not, you know, one of those isolated incidents. This has been happening consistently in order for the U.S. State Department to say that a third of non-natural deaths to U.S. citizens have happened in Mexico. Do people come back? Yes. Do they come back alive? Yes. But if we were to throw open the 32 coffins of those individuals who lost their lives and ask them, was your trip safe? They're not here to speak. So we know their trip wasn't safe. So it warrants us to start, you know, doing the research. We're fortunate we have several individuals that research out stories, you know, about U.S. citizens who have traveled abroad and have had, you know, either fatalities, injuries, accidents, you know, and they've been doing a great job, because if you go on to the Davon Green Franklin Foundation on Facebook, give us a like, you're going to start seeing these stories. And so with the Dominican Republic, when the first situation came about, it was like, oh my goodness, someone passed away down in the DR. And then the second, the third, fifth, sixth. And when those numbers start climbing, what did individuals start doing? They start pulling back their tourism dollars.
That goes
You know-
into in 2017, according to Newsweek, Americans spent more than $135 million on overseas travel. Could y'all put that into black-owned businesses like the V-Mix, please? Okay?
So it's
Yeah.
So people are spending, you know, that type of people are spending that type of money
Yes.
to travel. So when you have the Maureen Websters and Maureen, who's the founder of MexicoVacationAwareness.com, she actually was receiving death threats because her stories was pulling back tourism dollars to Mexico. That's her son Nolan Webster.
We gotta get her here to this show. Wow.
And
Y'all
so
get me every time.
yeah, so you know, if one person doesn't come back alive, it's a problem, you know, for us. We take it personally.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
so just being able to get that information out, you know, layer that information. Our research team, they send me stories constantly. It's nothing for me to, you know, check my phone and see that another fatality has happened. Another fatality has happened. And this goes on and on throughout the day. So Cheryl and Erica, hats off, you know, to them for
Hey, Miss
finding
Cheryl. Hey,
those
Miss
stories.
Erica. You're more than welcome to come to the V-Mix. Wow. Passport. What's this? Care. What you mean passport care? Like keep it where you can't, nobody can take it.
Not just keeping it where no one can take it. Passport care starts the day that you get your passport.
I don't have one. I'm nervous.
She doesn't even have her baby yet.
I don't have a passport yet or baby
Well,
yet.
passport care is so important because from the day that you get your passport, you want to make sure that you get a case for it. You want to make sure that there are no rips, there are no tears. We had a young lady who traveled to Dubai, And she made it through all the airports. And unfortunately, when she gets to get ready to go into the final airport, they actually stop her and tell her, we can't allow you to go any further. And she's like, what's wrong? And she had what I consider almost like a hairline, like a scratch going, on the passport. And they then put her in a small room. Now, mind you, this individual, not even 110 pounds, young lady, 5'4", and they put her inside a room, and they actually hold her there while they are at gunpoint.
Who do these people think?
While they are accusing her of having made this passport, counterfeit passport ring. And so she called her friend who was supposed to meet her at the airport and said, well, listen, they got me down here and they're accusing me of making passports. So her friend comes down, they put her in the room, and now they have two of them locked in this room, stating that you guys have a counterfeit ring, you're making passports. And so the girl who actually lived in Dubai at the time, she stated, to them, if you allow me to go to the U.S. Embassy, I can get this straight. And so she went down to the went down to the U.S. Embassy and was able to get a temporary passport, for her friend. And just before it was time for them to leave, then they demanded $300 US from them for staying in the room.
Because she stayed in the room
overnight.
She had to pay them for it.
Alone, no food, nothing to drink.
And the sad thing is, they can get away with it in these other
countries.
And
what is the United States of America doing about this?
Well, see, that's
the U.S. State Department.
That's the thing. The United States government, our rules don't apply over there. That's why you have to be so careful. Our rules don't apply over there. And a lot of times, American citizens have a false sense of security when they travel because we're Americans. We have rights here in America. But when you travel abroad, you don't have rights like that because the laws that they have in other countries do not apply. You know what I mean? You have to know the laws that are going. In some countries, if you spit on the ground, you can be locked up. Yes. Sometimes we don't understand. The guy was defacing, was it in China? I think it was. He was defacing a
propaganda sign.
A propaganda sign. And he wound up getting locked up. It was a big thing about that several years ago.
So where should we go? Where do y'all feel like out of states have y'all have maybe traveled?
But we don't make recommendations on where people should travel. So we never want to travel down that lane of
go here, don't go there.
Right. Our job is to help individuals to understand that these risks exist. They are real, and it warrants for you to pause and actually take a few moments to do a Google search. CDC,
travel
State Department, letting the embassy know you are there. Right. When you go inside the hotel room, you want to check out the place. You don't want to use the safe because they got a master code. They can go in, they can take your passports. We're saying even take your passports in the shower with you.
The belt, safety belt,
yes,
waterproof.
Yeah, all of those things.
I want a waterproof one.
Yeah, well, they sell them. They sell them at Walmart.
You can get them online anywhere.
Yeah, they have them in multiple. And another thing I failed to mention, we always recommend that when you travel, use the buddy system. Don't travel alone when you're at the hotel. Or I'm going to run down to the store where I saw that pocketbook. I'm going to go back and get that. No, if you go back, take somebody with you, because you're less likely to get attempted to harm you or take your money or anything like that if it's two of you. So use the buddy system, and we recommend that you research the laws that are in the country that you're there while you're there, because if you don't, you can be doing something just as simple as I said before, spitting on the ground, and you will put yourself at risk of being locked up because you don't know the laws.
And we also, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the 2-year-old, I believe it was, the toddler that fell from the cruise ship.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, just recently, a toddler fell from a cruise ship. It was an international destination, and of course, we want to think that, we're being safe, but, when a family, goes on a cruise ship, they have to realize it's almost like a big city. They have a morgue, they have a jail, they have a law team there, so it's not as if you're just in your room the entire time. You may be moving about, and nothing could have prepared this family for losing an infant, while on the ship. One of the media outlets reported that the grandparent dangled the child outside of the window, and it comes, we later learned that was not the case. So we have to not have a rush to judgment when we see these things. Don't rush to blame the victim. There's a theory behind, blaming the victim. They could have done this, they could have done that. Certainly, as the story unfolded, the grandfather actually thought that there was a window there, and it was a window ledge he was sitting the child on, and it was not. And currently that family is still in that foreign destination, and they will be there until things get cleared up. So they're still incurring expenses. So just think, if you go into, one of these countries, that what happens if I don't get a chance to leave on the date that I'm supposed to?
They're charging you for it.
They're charging you for it. So you may not have enough money to sustain you there. And then we have the GoFundMe accounts that have to be set up, because the expenses are mounting, and individuals still have to be, taking care of their bills here and, trying to keep hotel lodging there, so.
Just to say, my aunt, her Aunt Cora, went years ago, of course I wasn't born yet. She went to Mexico, and they tried to keep her just because she looked like Mexicans. Just because my aunt looked or resembled, had the complexion or maybe the features of them, they tried to keep her in Mexico. And the only way she got out was because she sound like a ninja. She sounded like a black woman. She was like, "Y'all don't get the F off me. I ain't from here." That's the only way. Like, and her boyfriend at the time came, and but they were trying to keep my aunt just for her looks.
And we have to realize
saying
that
you belong here, and she was like, "No, the F I don't."
She's like, I'm
getting out. Come and tell him I'm a nigga. Sorry, that's what she said. No, that's what my aunt said. She said, if you told her boyfriend, if you don't tell him I'm a nigga,
because she wanted out. Because those situations.
Sorry, I don't use that word like in a derogatory way, but my aunt had to get out.
Right.
They were, just for her looks, they were trying to keep my aunt in Mexico.
And a lot of people, believe it or not, sometimes people get, victim of circumstances.
Yes.
And those police officers and
Wow.
They, one of the things that we didn't mention about what happened with Davon, that the guy that called us up, his name was Jesus. When he called us, at first he said he was from the
That's
hotel.
what I remember.
And then he said he said he was from the hotel first, and then he called and said he was from the hospital. And he made a Freudian slip and said, and my wife said, "Well, aren't you the same guy that called me that said he was from the hotel?" And then he said, "Well, yeah, she recognized his voice." And then he said, "Well, we sometimes work together."
No, get out.
We sometimes work together. And so we do believe that sometimes they do work together.
Oh, I get you in a conspiracy.
Obviously,
right.
They're all working together trying to extort the money, get your money at any cost. He's calling from the hotel 1 minute, then he's calling from the hospital the next minute.
In minutes. Not even the next day, within minutes. And I remembered his voice, and when I said, "Is this Jesus?"
Probably threw him off.
Yeah, threw him off. And I said, "Well,
that's
why
where
are
the
you?"
Freudian slip came from.
Why are you? We sometimes work together. So when something like this happens, it's almost like you have to be highly organized. The first thing I did was, I grabbed a small booklet that I had, and I started writing down who I was talking to, what time I talked to these individuals, name, numbers, whatever the case may be. The U.S. State Department, they're there to help, but travelers have to make it a point of reaching out to the U.S. State Department.
Y'all hear that?
A lot of information is already there.
Stop being lazy
The
and trying to get an
CDC.
Instagram selfie.
The CDC
CDC.
travel website. And speaking of Instagram,
It's not good.
There
It
was
ain't
an Instagram individual. She was on Instagram. I'm not going to call her name, but she was saying that all these wonderful and awesome trips that she had taken and how she had been down in the Dominican Republic, and she really had an influence on how people travel. You know, people were believing that the areas that was being talked about was a safe area.
Lord. So
and
they
then
done created these pages.
exactly, and so when all of these deaths to U.S. citizens happened, the individual was, taken aback, and had some remorse, because she was saying, these places are safe. Look at how I'm enjoying myself. I'm taking, selfies and and all this is happening, and she had a moment in which she felt as though she had let the general public
Obviously.
down. And so we just want people to understand that there are no do-overs, and for young people, if your parent is saying that they don't want you to take a trip, they don't feel good about the trip, don't take the trip. They might not be saying no, they may just be saying not now, because with maturity, that's when you start saying to yourself, I understand what my parent is saying. Let me find out what's happening before I go. Because individuals have read Davon's story and Nolan's story and Brian's story, Hunter's story, Sarah's story, and have still traveled. And now they are sending back stories about how their vacation ended, in the event their life didn't end. I had one particular friend, she loved going to Mexico. That was her thing. I'm not sure what happened. I probably never will know. But then she said, I'm no longer going to travel to Mexico. And she had planned this big family vacation to the Dominican Republic. And she went on to the Davon Green Franklin Foundation page on Facebook. And as she began to read the stories, she pulled me up and she said, I'm not going to go to the Dominican Republic. So I said, well, what happened? She said, considering, what you have been sharing, I need to rethink my travel destination for this year. And so that's exactly what she did. So we're not saying we are the experts,
No.
but through what we have experienced in the 9 years, next March will be 10 years, it does warrant for individuals to just take a listen and be open to what we have to say.
Safety.
Safety.
No selfies. Safety.
Safety.
Safety over selfies.
That's a good one. That should be in
Safety
there.
over
Safety.
selfies.
I like that too. Right? I went to Miami.
That has a ring.
It does. I went to Miami and got set up with some girls.
Okay.
Just in Miami, it was they was trying to set me up for some drama, but I always was like plugged. So I had peoples already in Florida. Shout out to the peoples that I'm talking about, if you're listening. I had peoples in Florida already. I already had peoples down there, so
That's the network.
That's the network.
network.
So when they took me down there, it was a mess. Y'all better get familiar with your girl, Miss V, okay? I got a book coming out too, okay? Boop! I'm gonna put all this in there. It took me to Miami. It was my 30th birthday. It could have went to the left. So anywhere, anything in our lives needs to have that safety first. Your friends, where you going? It's so, that's why I think I drew to this story. It's just that anywhere you go, I think safety needs to be put in the forefront.
And even knowing your travel companions, you need to
know who. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Right. As parents, we always want to find out who are my child's friends when they're 2 and 3 years old. When they start getting around the age of 8 to 12, they want to do sleepovers, and you're like, oh, I got to go see the parents. I got to go know the parents. That sort of thing. And then by the time they get off to college, you think, well, I don't need to know who my children's friends are. Yes, you do. You need to know who their friends are. You need to know who their travel companions are. And within your travel group, who knows CPR and first aid.
If I ain't had people in Florida,
y'all,
I would have been in jail in Florida.
It's the network. You have to have that
just
network.
know that. I would have been in jail because they would have came up miss.
Wow.
Straight like that. Let's get into the Legacy Bowling event. November the 16th, 2019.
Okay.
At 6:30 p.m. And let's talk about that. Like, how did the Legacy Bowling Gala event, not gala event, the Bowling Legacy event get started?
Okay, Davon loved to bowl.
Okay.
There was a place called Lucky Stripes over in DC. We had frequented there multiple times. Davon loved to bowl. His high school friends, those individuals that traveled to Western Tech, Davon was president of the class of 2005. He shared that presidency with Jacinda Sterling. And she and a group of her friends decided that they wanted to do something, special. And so we worked alongside them. They took the helm of the ship and decided that they wanted to do a bowling event each year. So each year we go back to AMF Woodlawn Bowling Lanes and we host the Davon Green Franklin Legacy Bowling event.
Okay.
Tickets are $30
That's what I was
this
gonna
year.
ask you.
Tickets
Okay.
are $30. Information will begin to get pushed out on that initiative. Proceeds from the event benefit the Legacy Scholarship and Award. That Legacy Scholarship and Award is given to a student that attends Western Tech. Sometimes we end up
So
with
nice.
extra funds throughout the year, and individuals who have need of certain items, be it books, meal plans, things like that, we're able to assist as well, and we are also able to renew scholarships if the monies are in place. So we want everyone to come out on that date, November 16th.
November the 16th.
It's on a Saturday. We will be bowling. We will have the DGF Legacy booth up, so individuals will be able to get their Surviving
T-shirts.
Spring Break pledge card. They will be able to get their legacy gear.
Yeah.
Chavez is wearing one of the T-shirts. I have on one
gonna
of the
say,
T-shirts.
don't you have one?
Oh yeah, I have one
I gotta
too.
get
I
this
have the
one.
bling one with the red feather. We have buttons. We have cups. We have mugs. So all those items will be there. So. Individuals that are interested in booking us for their upcoming event, they can reach out to us at www.dgffoundation.org.
Okay. So you have the November the 16th. They can get tickets again on the website.
They'll be on
correct?
the website, Eventbrite, the Facebook invitation will go out for the event late July because we'll start moving towards making that happen. And we are fortunate to have so many individuals that believe in the work that we do, that support the foundation, and it's been a labor of love. It's been a labor of love, and more importantly, if we can save the life of one U.S. citizen, if we can, get into their mindset, and help them to be able to have a mindset of, I want to be safe when I travel. What do I need to do? We don't know it all. So we certainly don't expect, those individuals
lot.
who are traveling, to have all the information. But we can help them.
So the scholarships, is that something Davon wanted to give back and,
It was-
and to do? That was always a part of the Devin Green Franklin Foundation?
That was exactly what he wanted to create this foundation for, and that was to be able to give back to his alma mater, Western School of Technology and Environmental Science, is where that application, that whole process initiative began with Western.
Drop your contact information. We got 5 minutes. Drop what you would like us to know about Devin, yourself. I know that to strengthen your unionship. Congratulations on your unionship. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I know this strengthened you all. You don't have to speak on it. I know it did. Congratulations. I'm always here. If y'all need anything, drop your contact information. Drop information you think we need to know. We got like 5 minutes left.
We got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah,
We can
5
wrap
minutes.
this up in 5 minutes. I would say we knew that Davon was special.
Yes,
we
he
knew
is.
he was special.
Yes,
And
he is.
in the days after his passing, we found out just how really, really special Davon was. Not to just us. He was a son beloved. We just love and miss him so, so tenderly. His friends from Howard University, they were a big help and support in helping us to shape the foundation. We met over at Drew Hall over on the campus of Howard University with a team of students, and they helped to shape the Davon Green Franklin Foundation. They helped to bring their resources to do a PSA for homecoming. So they so this information would feed out as to what individuals need to watch out for when they travel. And so with Davon, he had so many gifts, he had so many talents. He was respected in his community, member of the clergy, and so we miss him, but we're able to love him through his foundation.
The legacy.
And if individuals want to reach out to us, they
donate.
And donate. We are 501c3, which means we are registered with the government, and so we don't take that lightly. So our funds are for our scholarships and any maintenance that we may need within the foundation website, pamphlets. You have some of the materials in your hand. We ask individuals to donate today in honor of Davon. Davon would have celebrated his 32nd birthday on next week.
Oh wow!
So if individuals would just make a donation at www.dgffoundation.org, and just put into place some things for not only themselves but for their family members, so that when they take a trip, or they're contemplating a trip, they can come back safe. Wow.
And I meant what I said. Y'all gotta watch out who y'all can't set up people, okay? Y'all gotta cut this out, okay, devils? Devils, that's what y'all all over in Mexico and Dominican Republic. I said it, and I mean it. That is some devilish stuff. I just can't get over how people plot on you.
Yeah, it's a dangerous
people plot on you.
It's a dangerous.
I don't take back my statement, okay? People plot on you, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be highlighted. It needs to be made aware. Like, we have to take heed to this, even if we stop traveling out of the States. I'm sorry, like, even if we have to stop traveling to make a statement, maybe it's a statement that needs to be made. I don't know, because over the last few weeks we lost so many people from in the DR. Yeah. People have been talking about that a whole lot. So thank y'all for coming. Y'all
Thanks for having us. We really appreciate you using your platform.
I can't believe it. I get worked up every time. I know y'all see it. I get worked up every time. But again, Ms. Inez, Mr. Chavez, Devin Green Franklin Foundation, thank you so much, Devin, for this awareness. I appreciate you. I am definitely always been a safety girl. I always do pack extra medicine. I always was even if I had to pay for extra luggage, I'll pay, okay? I'm paying for extra luggage, okay? Any closing 11/16/19 at 6:30 p.m. The Devin Green Franklin Foundation Legacy Bowling event. He loves bowling. He also, again, this foundation is a 501c3 that awards scholarships. And through your donation, it goes to the scholarships, of course.
Yes.
Anything in addition we can expect from the Devin Green Franklin Foundation? Anything that y'all want to get into? Because we got 2 minutes. He let me go. He didn't come out yet. He let me go, Mr. Chavez.
We just grateful for all those that have been helping us over the years, and we don't take it for granted. Those that have helped us, and we just want people to be more informed about when they travel and how to travel. That's our priority. Our main goal is to make everyone a more informed traveler.
Absolutely. Anything else?
And I think that if individuals have questions, reach out to us. We are here to help. So
you can help me plan my trip.
Well, I can't help you plan. I can't help you plan your trip, but what I can do is sit down with you, have a conversation about some of the things you need to look out
for,
to look out for.
Prepared,
right, we do one-on-one consultations. We do if it's a group of travelers who are traveling or taking a cruise. There are certain things that certainly can be put in place. We don't guarantee anything, but we do have some information, guidance. Some knowledge, some guidance, some of the do's and some of the don'ts, that individuals, should take.
Okay. All right. So as far as you need to drop any more promotions, if y'all want to reach out, like Coppin State University, they will love to be there. Okay, this year. Okay. All right. So again, to you people who plot on people, it ain't cool. Okay. All right. Dag on it. But anyway, this is your girl, Miss V, host of the V Mix Radio Show. August the 17th is a giveaway, back to school event. It will be, looking to target 50 book bags or more. So I have 50 to 200. If I get 102, I get 150. If I get 202, however it works. But I know it's kind of like a big, it's just like, hey, however it falls, however the chips lay. Again, shout out to Curry Hardware. Thank you so much for your contribution. I really appreciate it. I will have the Devin Green Franklin Foundation August the 17th. Hopefully y'all can come out and speak. I did just plug y'all in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be there.
Okay, that means they gonna be there, right? They will be there
Absolutely.
August the 17th to do some more speaking. If you missed today's show, get familiar with Radio on Fire. Y'all can always be here, but don't mess with the V-Mix, okay, when y'all come, okay? It's like I love everybody on the Radio on Fire family. Again, August the 17th, 2 to 6:30 p.m. If you would like to be a performer, a vendor, a speaker, just hit me up at thevmix@gmail.com. You can PayPal me, you can Cash at me. Contributions go to, of course, promotions and the supplies, and any event I give is going to be something to eat. Okay, I don't care if it's a little bit to eat. It's going to be something to eat. So it's going to be refreshments there. It's going to be face painting. I think my mom is going to do face painting along with, I want to say Virginia, Melrose. So I'm going to have face painting. So please, please, please get familiar with me. Reach out to me. Go to thevmix.com. Go to the Devin Green Franklin Foundation website as well. Get that real quick. Because I thought I knew it. I didn't.
Davon Green Franklin Foundation at www.dgffoundation.org.
She gave that radio voice right there. Y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? Thank y'all so much for coming. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Diamond,
Thanks
for
for
letting me
having
run
us.
over. See y'all next July the 27th. House of Diamonds. I will be back with G Shots 59. We're gonna talk about her. I want to say her frozen pouches. I'm not sure. I gotta get familiar as well. So July the 27th, I will be back. We're taking a little break on July the 20th, and none of your business why. All right. I see you July the 27th. All right. Bye, y'all. Miss V.
All right. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Yes.
Wait a minute, what are frozen pouches?